Day 87. The sun is so bright, I should have worn shades. I'm even having a hard time seeing my screen, but I want to show you guys. It is a Monday morning. It's March 28th, 2022. For those of you that can see this, there is just a beautiful, beautiful sunrise. And I'm standing by a lake, and the steam that is rising off of it is creating a really cool, very mystical effect. Whoa. All right, let's see what God has in store for my brain today. I'm like, okay, this ought to be interesting because I have some threads of thoughts and how it's all going to come together. Let's go on this adventure together into Felicia's brain. And with God's help, it'll make sense. So I'm reading, read Psalms 20. Yeah, I think it's 20 through 26 today. Very good. And several things caught my attention. And a lot of people know, whether you are familiar with the Bible or God or Christianity, most people are familiar with Psalm 23, even if they don't know that they are. That is the one that's read at a lot of funerals. The guiding me through still pastures and peace and sorrow, all of that scripture. I'm not doing it justice. But right before that, in Psalm 22, David basically lays out a prophecy for even the season that we're in now, running up to Easter, of Jesus's death on the cross. And the time leading up to that, where Jesus was feeling very, closed in by his enemies, very despised, all of the heaviness of what that must have felt like. And David got a vision of that. And he probably thought that, well, this is weird. But he wrote it and shared it anyway. And so that's why I wanted to talk about vision today. And some of us get visions, like clear visions, through our desires, talents, gifts, circumstances, coincidences of things that come into our path. And we can get super excited about it and really even scared about it, to share it, to know what to do with it. So a lot of times we just keep it quiet. Like, people will think I'm weird if I share this. And part of what I got from reading David sharing his vision, and he probably didn't understand it, and it was something that wasn't even specifically for him, or about him, maybe we should say, and it was, though. But he shared it anyway. And so us reading this, well, it does a lot of things for us. It shows the divine nature. It helps to demonstrate and give evidence to the divine nature of the Bible itself, of the Jesus coming through David's line, and I'm sure on some level, although we know David is already very committed to God, but this must have also given him a sense of, or this was evidence, his sharing it maybe is even evidence of his commitment to fulfilling his assignment and potential as king, that he knew it was about more than him, that God was doing something in and through him, and he couldn't mess around with it. And even when visions aren't necessarily for us, they're important to share, because you don't know who's going to be reading it or hearing it or coming across it through somebody else, because that may be the thing that somebody else needs to hear. And so we don't need to fully own that it is for specifically for us and even try to figure it out. Sometimes our curiosity or these thoughts, these inclinations, these interests, maybe they're just for a season for somebody else and you exploring it. Oftentimes I think we, when we have a vision, we maybe think that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to maybe be committed to something or to go to this certain level with it. Or people will think we're weird or we're not serious or like whatever judgment or fears that we have internally and of being externally judged. But what if you're being interested in something just for a time gives somebody else permission, inspiration, inkling, like whatever, to do the thing that they're supposed to do or get something from it? So part of what I was originally wanting to talk about or was thinking about personally, and maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow, was the difference between sort of commitment and excitement. But first you have to have a vision and you have to have an open heart and curiosity and maybe a willingness to just talk about it, express it somehow, and not keep it hidden so that you'll know. And again, jumping ahead to Psalm, I think it was 25 or 26, where David gets reminded that I will straighten your paths. Like in the exploration, in the curiosity, in the just willingness to follow maybe a thread, that God will kind of reveal to you where that needs to go. Or even if it needs to end and get back over here. Like maybe he's doing something in and through you for others. And it's not meant for your long term. So we get, and this is especially true for me, I get so overwhelmed and I jump from A to Z and I think it has to be this big thing and like, oh my God, I can't even, like, what if I just, stayed focused on God, paid attention to my visions and my interests and my gift, being willing to follow them for however long it needs to be followed. God will, and let go of that outcome. Hold it loosely and allow God to use it however, because it's really all about him anyway. Your visions, they're not your visions, they're his visions. And you're just a vehicle. But you can only be a vehicle if you've got gas in the tank. You're not meant to be parked and breaking down over on the side of the road. You're meant to go. And sometimes those journeys are short and, for a purpose, and you don't need to know the purpose. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. But you never know who's watching. And while I'm committed to doing this thing for this year of 2022, and God will use it and show me whether or not to continue or what to do beyond that. And even if he tells me, I'm even going to hold that loosely. If he tells me tomorrow, okay, you're done, and I thought it was going to be this, I'm going to hold it loosely and just do and let God take care of the rest. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. But we need to be just a little bit more willing and curious. Oh, here, let me show you the sunset. Isn't it just brilliant? Wow. And seeing the fog come there, you can see a little bit of it off of the lake. So be willing to share your visions, to get curious about them. And the more you do it, the more you practice it, just like a lot of things, they're skills. You can learn this. And every time you do it, it becomes less weird, less scary, and then let it land and go wherever God can take it. But you can't do that if you don't let it out of here first. And so allow it to be expressed however it needs to be expressed. Whether it's painting a picture, writing a poem, writing a song, learning how to do something new, trying a new sport, reading the Bible for the first time, and being willing to even share it, like honoring how God created me, to really not know sometimes what I really think about something, and to let it go from head knowledge to heart knowledge until I fully, literally express it verbally and then in writing. And maybe I'm giving somebody else permission to do that, or a new idea. Oh, maybe this is why, I've read the Bible a few times and it's not sticking. Well, maybe, I'm inspiring. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. Maybe somebody's just getting introduced for the first time to the word, to even the idea of believing in a higher power, in God, because I was willing to be curious about this vision and just go out there, even though it seems weird and scary. But it doesn't mean I have to do it forever. It doesn't mean that this is just now who I am. It doesn't change my identity. I'm letting go of all of that, and letting God do whatever he's going to do, not only with me, but through me, to help. But we all need to get out of ourselves, keep everything so bottled up. And the more we can step out and share our visions, even in the face of being judged or people thinking we're weird, the less weird it will be. Now, people are always going to judge because that seems to be how God made us, but do it anyway. And stand firm, and because we are created by a creative creator, and we are creative, and it shows up in lots of interesting ways. So be willing to have interesting visions, and then be interesting and have an interesting life. You don't have to be stuck in just the monotony of bills, heaviness. But we don't want to deny any of that, because those are real things. But we can also inject a little fun into our lives, and that often happens through honoring these visions or things that you get. And they show up sometimes in just the form of interests, curiosity. So be curious about curiosity and vision and what could be. Allow your brain. If the idea of vision is new to you, allow yourself to just dream. If you could take a magic wand and all the bills went away, and money were no object, time were no object, you had nothing in your way, what would your brain come up with? What could you do? If you ask your brain a question, it will come up with an answer, and God will work through that process. So get curious about what kind of visions, or maybe you already know, I'm talking to somebody that's got a vision, they know it, they have just never let it out of the closet, and it is time to come out. All right, there is the sunrise. I'm going to take some more pictures. Today's a really good picture day. I mean, it always is really, but all right. Have a fabulous day. Whatever day it is for you. For me right now, it's a Monday. I love Mondays now. TGIM. All right. Bye.